today's Meet the Lindens. This is a day where we may get a little techie, and it gives Grumpity and Mojo Linden a chance to share what they've been working on and what they're planning to work on, and gives us all a chance to ask those burning questions. Let me start by introducing Grumpity and Mojo. Grumpity heads up Second Life Product, where she's overseen a shift to growth, a stronger, more balanced economy, movement towards better community cohesion, and an overall forward-looking approach. Prior to working for Linden Lab, first joining as a contractor in 2009 and then full-time in 2014, she was involved in a number of industries, including tech, higher education, and oil and gas. She enjoys exploring worlds, both virtual and physical, and takes pride in building bridges, personal and professional. Grumpity holds a Master's in Computer Science from Johns Hopkins University and a Bachelor from the same in Computer Science and Psychology. She finds leading the Second Life product a joy because it allows her to draw on both areas of study and how, I would say. Mojo has joined the Linden Lab team more recently. In fact, this is his very first Meet the Lindens session, so round of applause for Mojo. With over 20 years of experience in the games industry, Mojo is an expert at building teams and launching groundbreaking games across genres that push the limits of their respective platforms. His product and technical expertise spans across multiple mode, PC and console games, as well as platform and SDK development, web applications, and cloud services. Prior to joining Linden Lab, Mojo held senior level positions at Level X, Zoom, Double Down Interactive, IGT, and Microsoft. Mojo has worked on iconic franchises such as Halo, Forza Motorsport, Fable, Crackdown, and Wheel of Fortune. Mojo has a degree in computer engineering from the University of Washington. So, let's start off by asking you, Mojo, how you find working at the lab. Is it living up to expectations? Have you needed to order extra gaffer tape to hold Second Life together?
Oh, that's great. Well, first, I want to say that I love it. The community is so dynamic and involved. My coworkers are wonderful. And I've really enjoyed working with Grumpy, Patch, and Brett in particular. I am quite thankful, though, that the team moved on to AWS prior to joining. That move has really made a lot of things easier and provided dividends like faster script performance. We've certainly been working to modernize the infrastructure a bit at a time. And that has led to minimizing our need for gaffer tape, thankfully.
And I would just jump in to say that it has been fantastic having Mojo here. And it's now been almost a year. We've been working very closely, and I'm so happy to have him.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
I know that performance improvements are important to both of you, as they are to residents. So can you tell me something of what you've been working on over the last year?
Sure, I think I'll take that one. I do care deeply about performance. In my past work over the years, performance has been something that I spent time as an engineer addressing. Poor performance can really get in the way of a good experience. And it continues to be a focus through my oversight of the Second Life engineering team. In particular, our viewer team looked to optimize avatar rendering. We wanted people to be able to go into more crowded situations like shopping events and clubs and really not have their frame rate tank. So the viewer team, they made a concerted effort over the last 6 months to improve performance overall. Linden in particular was able to make some amazing improvements, reducing the number of draw calls and minimizing the overhead of rendering. This doubled up frame rate for many use cases. It was such a huge win. So despite the big gains, we certainly aren't done thinking about performance. We have additional improvements in the works. Some of these things are a performance mode where the viewer will dynamically change settings to maintain frame rate, improvements to texture streaming performance so that textures load more quickly, and finally, we're looking to use all available video memory so the textures don't downres as often. So we're excited about those improvements as well.
That sounds great. How do you think the hype about the metaverse and Meta will affect Second Life? Will it affect the sort of work you're doing?
Oh yeah, I'd love to take this one. So first of all, it already certainly has affected my professional life, as I've had this opportunity to speak and represent Second Life and as the OG Metaverse. Um, in various forums. I was even on French TV for 15 seconds. That was very exciting. uh, but in addition to that, there's have been more intellectual pursuits as well. I was very fortunate to be on a panel at Stanford that was talking about the metaverse and the law, and I actually got to be on a panel with Lawrence Lessig and Bill Ty, where we talked about kind of the long-ranging implications of this new exploration of the metaverse, where things are going to go, what are the risks, etc. And it's fantastic to kind of see this resurgence of interest in virtual worlds. At the same time, there's of course a lot to be thoughtful about and a lot of things to consider carefully. I very much enjoy that the conversation has also moved on, right? When the first topics about the metaverse started appearing, it was like the world discovered snow crash, right? And all of the articles we saw in the media were basically just explaining what snow crash is about, and what it means for people to be represented as avatars. And now we've kind of moved on to deeper conversations about what inhabiting our digital selves really means in the long term, about what the different implications are of digital transactions. A lot of these things we've been thinking about and inhabiting for a decade or more. So Second Life is perfectly positioned to be a strong player in this conversation. So we've enjoyed the visibility. We've certainly enjoyed the respect and street cred. We've been leveraging it. If the audience didn't catch the Meet the Lindens with Philip and Oberwolf, I think the conversation there was fantastic. And Philip certainly is a bit of our moral compass, and we enjoy having those conversations together. But and one of the big ones, of course, is the business models of the metaverse and what they will be. We are very proud of the fact that we don't make money on taking your personal data and showing you ads with it. And we truly believe that the risk for moving that business model into a far more immersive environment than just the 2D social media space is really dangerous. But there is a bit of an existential risk because ad-supported content is free, or not actually free, but you don't have to pay for it up front. On the other hand, this has been a great push for us to innovate, and nothing like a little competition to get those gears turning. And we are looking forward to talking about a couple of those initiatives later on in the show.
Yay!
Yay!
Now, I'm going to come to something specific because one resident has asked about a specific element. Mona Eberhardt says that in Second Life we still don't have global illumination and Winlight's weather capabilities have never been implemented, and she refers to Jira 230860. And she hints that maybe it's time that these things, perhaps with aid and input from cutting edge third party viewer developers and other engineering talent, receive the love they deserved.
I will take this one, and I love this question because I've good news. Um,
Yay!
yes, bounce lighting, global illumination are certainly on our minds. Our viewer team has recently been working on improving the level of graphic realism. One of our initiative introduced reflection probes, which could be used to approximate global illumination and bounce lighting. The way it works is these probes define kind of the location of an environment map. An environment map is kind of similar to a 360 snapshot, but what we're rendering into those snapshots are kind of illumination and reflections. And then basically what happens is other objects can sample from those objects to, go create the bounce lighting that I believe, the community's been waiting for here. Now, I want to build on this because we're not stopping there. So along with reflection probes, we're actually also actively working on developing physical-based rendering. So PBR. We want to empower users to export materials from tools like Substance Painter and really bring those materials onto Second Life primitives and meshes. So these are, the technical pieces are support for GLTF, 2.0 metallic roughness. So that's kind of the specific feature that we're from the PBR spec that we're supporting. And again, these probes will enable objects to reflect their environment, receive environment-based ambient lighting. The other benefit is that we're going to have these materials live in your inventory. So they're going to be able to apply to, multiple items and also, traded.
Oh, that is nice.
So you mentioned one more thing here, which is the community, and we've certainly been engaging members of the community as well as third-party developers on these efforts. They have been amazing collaborators and contributors, and we're learning from them and making sure that their use cases are considered.
Right. Does this mean that we will have mirrors?
I was going to say, all I heard was mirrors, mirrors, mirrors.
That's why I have to ask it. It came back.
Well, this is a step towards mirrors. In fact, I think some of the developers have kind of developed sort of mirrors, but this is a step towards proper mirrors in Second Life. Absolutely.
Oh, excellent. And someone has asked, bounce lighting, is that similar to ray tracing?
It's the end effect is similar, yes, but it's a completely different method of getting there. Ray tracing is, going pixel by pixel. This is more about gathering light and then having, that light, if you're near one of these reflection probes, influence lighting on your object. So it's a different technique.
Right. Fantastic. It's something that Second Life users have asked for so many years, the idea of mirrors, and there have been some great attempts to create them. Loki Elliott has done some work on that. So yeah,
definitely.
That's why the audience are excited.
For sure. I did warn Mojo that that's all any of us are going to hear.
No one cares about the PBR. They want the mirrors. Okay.
Yeah. We care. We care about your PBR too. We just, really want mirrors.
Yeah.
They're all part of the same problem. So it'll be great.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just wanted to add on, Saffia, as for weather capabilities,
Yes.
I'm sure you remember the EAP project, and the rollout and the development of that project was long and a little painful and complex. It did really very much move environment settings forward in a dramatic way. Like as I was exploring the SLB exhibits, getting a new environment every time I stepped into a new spot super cool, and I loved how they transition from one to another every time you move forward and everything. But oh man, that project kind of really bled us dry. And I mean, not literally, but
Yeah.
not in a bloodlines way, but it took a ton of time and resources. And Second Life is a living thing, and we need to feed kind of the different parts of the system. So I think weather is gonna just stick around as it is for a little while we pay attention elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, I remember it was also, for me, it was a problem because I'm a Firestorm user, and Firestorm took a little while to catch up. And the sky overhead at the first EAP-enabled birthday was a kind of yellow and black bulges, which were horrible. And then when I got on an alt, because for some reason I can't get into Second Life on Saffia and the Second Life viewer, but I came in on my alt and looked at the sky, and I was just standing there going, wow, this is fantastic. Wow, this is wonderful. So,
It
yeah,
was gorgeous.
it was utterly beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Well, this brings me on, having heard about that, it brings me on to something I wanted to ask about, and that's technical debt. Where there are gaps are in implementation, perhaps because no one thought that an innovation could be used in the way that Second Life creators implemented it. Those of us with long memories can remember the early days of mesh clothing, for example. So, will you be able to look at the issues where there is technical debt? And if so, what draws your attention to issues? Is it JIRAs or discussions at office hours, or what? What's the way that residents can say, hey, this is important?
Um, so I will start with the first part. Yes, our communities certainly surprise us in ways that features are used, and we can never foresee all of the applications. And part of that is honestly on us. Sometimes our feature rollouts are not as thoughtful necessarily as they could or should be. And we don't always have the ability to then plug those holes. Sometimes, as the way a feature is used evolves, we no longer have a way to plug that hole because it will destroy existing content. Um, and so uh, this is absolutely true. And part of this is a mea culpa, well, or a Linden culpa, I guess. But we do continuously work on technical debt, don't we, Mojo?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, we've done a lot to address technical debt, and it's something that I spend this, Linden's spend a significant amount of resources addressing. We accumulate a lot because of it's a legacy code base that's many years old. Legacy content. We want content working that's from the beginning all the way till now. As to kind of what we've been doing, a lot of that debt has been about upgrading so many of the different subsystems to more modern versions. These things like moving from older, less supported versions of languages and libraries to more modern ones that add capabilities and are more maintainable. Also upgrading our operating systems and databases to versions that offer better support and performance. That in itself has just been such a huge project involving almost everyone on the team at some point. There's also a fair amount of work going on digging through old code, removing dead code, plenty of bug fixing. On top of that, there's work just making sure we continue to scale regions. We want to see larger and larger numbers. We've rolled out these event regions. Making sure that our infrastructure scales is definitely something that we need to look at because we can't take the assumptions of the code base from years ago and assume that it's just going to continue moving forward without a lot of love and care and thought. I want to address one more thing. you mentioned, what is the best way of getting feedback to us? And I think there's just multiple ways. The JIRAs from the community are something we review on a weekly basis for sure. It's a great way of getting noticed. We particularly pay attention to issues impacting stability or broken content. Also, many of us attend SL user groups where we hear new ideas and get feedback. And I think we're going to drop a user group calendar so you can get involved if you'd like.
Yeah. Squeaky has that calendar link, I think, and has. Brilliant. Thank you, Squeaky. So that's now in chat. Okay. So moving on to the new. Is there a second life product roadmap for the coming year? And if so, what's on it?
Well, I don't think we'd be allowed to, run the company without a roadmap. So of course there's one. We can't talk about absolutely everything on the roadmap, but you've actually seen a lot of the stuff we've rolled out. We've had on the roadmap getting rolled out very recently, starting with Premium Plus. That has been very popular already, and I'm super excited to offer it. It's been a long time coming. And then there is, of course, event regions, which I have a bit of an announcement about as well coming up. There's been a ton of work on performance. And I think Mojo's spoken about this quite a bit. And there continues to be work on performance, right? Like this is a drumbeat that just never stops. There are different areas of performance improvements that we continuously address. And we want to make sure that, both people on lower end machines and people on high end machines have performance improvements to enjoy so that everybody's second life keeps getting better. As well as the graphics improvements that have been alluded to. There's also work in Nux, what we call the work on new user experience. And again, this is a thing that we keep coming back to. It's not a one and done. And right now, there's work being done on starter avatars and the experience of customizing your avatar as a new user. We think the community is going to enjoy it, and also think that perhaps tomorrow's Meet the Moles is going to have more discussion of those as well.
Yes. Something to mention, of course, is group chat. We're attempting to improve responsiveness in large groups, and chat's hard. I mean, raising group limits makes things exponentially harder as each new group adds more people. Groups are such an essential feature of the Second Life engagement. We're going to forever be working on making group chat better, and we really understand why it's important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another area of focus is updating our web properties. And we've dragged some of them kicking and screaming into the 21st century, and others are coming. Our current area of focus is actually the next one is the land ownership journey. We think land ownership is such an integral part of inhabiting Second Life and of the experience, and yet we make the process really complicated. And it is a super complex offering. There's a ton to choose from and a lot to understand. And even people who've been here for a decade sometimes don't have all of the information. And those poor noobs. So what we want to do is just put it all in one place, make it clear, and make it easy to decide what is the right fit and take the next step in land ownership.
One more thing I could mention is search relevance. We want people to, basically be able to find what they're looking for, whether it be in search or in marketplace. Let it be on the first page, not the 10th page.
Yes, I wanted to bring up the question of search. I find it a little cumbersome now. It seems to default to places and destinations, but that could just be me because when I call up search, I'm generally looking for people. But it definitely seems to have improved on a few months ago when it seemed to be dropping people I was expecting to find. I'm assuming that's work you've done on it.
Absolutely. So as I'm sure everybody noticed, we updated the look of search. And as Mojo mentioned, and I think we'll get into a little bit more working on search relevance. I specifically checked if you check the people box on your search, forevermore after that, you will have that selected and your preferences will be remembered. We're continuing to fix bugs, right? It's not like we ship a feature and never touch it again. Although if that were the case, that would help in planning.
Right.
But we ship something. We do our best to make sure it's bug free. We miss a few things, and then we continue working on making that better and improving it. And we appreciate everybody who is filing JIRAs and telling us about the bugs. We truly do.
Right.
A little bit more.
Do you want to? Yeah, thanks.
Well, there's one thing that we're doing that we haven't really done prior, and that is, to improve search relevance. Really, what we're doing is making sure that you're finding what you want on page 1. But if you're going to page 3 to find it, we actually have an algorithm that, is saying, oh, people are going to page 3. Let's bring that to page 1. So over time, search just gets better and better. So it's going to take some time for search relevance to kind of show up, but that's basically what's going on with search relevance. And you should be seeing it now in search. I think something for the future that we're looking to work on is applying the same ideas to marketplace.
Right. Good. I've just had a quick question which sort of relates to this, because it's the user interface. I don't know if this is your area, but will we be getting more pick slots for our profile area? Could we get more picks for our profile area?
It's possible.
Okay.
We are not getting more picks right this minute, but it is possible that that will be, for example, a premium feature in the future.
Right. Good. I will look out for that as a premium feature when I've got my premium. Can you tell us more about the work you've been doing on the marketplace?
Sure. So there have been a number of improvements, kind of rolling improvements over time. We added a few small features, including the ability to sort by orders that you've reviewed. We added initial display improvements to search results, and as Mojo mentioned, there's work underway to bring search relevance work to marketplace search results. And there's been upgrades to the back-end system that does marketplace search as well. We improved the speed of the order recipient search. We did a ton of bug fixing there. And then we've also been doing work on styles, as you know, which is was originally referred to as variants, which is basically grouping a bunch of, let's say, different colors of my beautiful steampunk dress into a single listing with a choice of different styles that you could order from one listing. Most of the back end work for that is done. We did put that on pause, but we're going to get the front end bits done in a few cycles as well. And I'm excited to see that. It's been a passion project for one of the Lindens for some time, and it deserves to see the light of day. I think it will make the marketplace shopping experience a lot more intuitive, convenient, and just a better one all around. We're still thinking hard about the future of the marketplace, up to and including a potential complete rebuild.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that'll be quite a project.
Yeah, I guess. I was going to say, I have been admiring your steampunk outfit.
Oh, thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you. I've been admiring your outfits. Every Meet the Lindens, you've got a cool new outfit going on.
I'm trying
Absolutely,
to,
yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to wear something different, steampunky every day. Okay, right. Let's move on to this project called Nux, New User Experience. Does this relate to having new avatars? And you seem to suggest they would be very customizable.
Well, I'll tell you what I want to tell you now.
Okay.
So Nux is just our shorthand for new user experience.
Mhm,
And we've really been looking to make new user onboarding easier. And one aspect we've been looking at is making it more intuitive for new users to customize their avatars for
mm,
certain. And it really, this initiative we have, it boils down to a new body type and clothing that all just works.
mm,
Uh, I'm hoping this creates opportunities for creators to test their clothing against this new body type. We want to encourage the creator community to market items to new users.
mm.
But I think I'm thinking that maybe I don't want to steal someone's thunder, so I'm going to just end it there.
It's true. I think the Meet the Moles tomorrow we'll have a little bit more to talk about there.
Maybe they'll even have a little modeling show demonstrating this. That could be quite fun.
I would make no such promises. lest I find myself buried 6 feet under.
Surrounded by irate moles, yes.
I want to respond to something in chat. Definitely with legs, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right, now I think you can also tell us a little more about event regions, those special new regions that are going to cater for events.
Oh, I would love to. We just seconds ago published a blog post about event regions. Yeah, and that's going to be dropped. We spent a lot of time preparing to roll these out. We were able to leverage the capabilities for in AWS to offer a set of hardware that improves the performance. I mean, we really saw a jump in script performance, and then stability, and a region that is an event region gets a lot of resources dedicated specifically to it.
Mhm,
And there's no doubt there's work that we will continue to need to do. Um, for example, what we found is event regions do the absolute best on their own. You put one region, nothing touching it, and you can just pile the avatars in there and you get great performance and it feels good, right? Because you get a crowd together. Um, and there's no region crossings to worry about or anything else. When an event region is surrounded by others, what we get is a child agent issue. And
Ah,
so this is our next problem to resolve. But in the
mhm,
meantime, this is a really cool feature. It works great, and we want more people to take advantage of it. So
mm,
what we're doing is we're rolling out 2 tiers of event regions for residents to choose what works best for them. The first one is called Event Regions Pro. It is going to be priced at $449 a month with no additional setup fee.
right.
Um, it is going to be running on the same hardware as the event regions are now. It will include 175 avatar limit, the over 20% improvement in script performance, and the ability to have extended chat range so that you could have nearby chat that you don't need to shout, and your entire event is able to see everything that's being put in nearby chat.
Right.
Um, the rest of these things will be available as add-ons for a fee, including a rollback service for $25 per request, instancing service that allows you to clone an event region for $50, as long as all of the content is 100% original content.
Mm-hmm.
And it is possible to do the $30 monthly add-on to go up to 30,000 land impact, just like on a regular region.
Right.
And,
Yes.
but wait, there's more. So in addition to the Events Pro regions, there's also the Event Regions Elite, which is the original feature. As we rolled it out, we have decided that we're able to offer these at the initial promotional price of $5.99 per month, no setup fee, into perpetuity. And each one of these comes with the same 175 avatar limit, 20% script improvements, extended chat range, as well as 30,000 LI for no additional fee, no fee rollback service, no fee instancing service, and white glove concierge service, all included in that monthly fee. We think this will hit the spot. We think the event regions are cool. I am seeing something like, I recently looked, we had 175 child agents here, and touch wood, everything is looking pretty good. So check out the blog. These will also be available for skilled gaming. The Event Regions Elite will be available for skilled gaming operators. So what you might see is those skilled gaming regions performing even better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds incredibly impressive. I think the child avatar thing is important though, because I'm thinking of big things like Relay for Life, Fantasy Fair, especially Fantasy Fair, and the Home and Garden Expo, all of which kind of depend on being a cluster of regions. So sorting out the child avatar thing is going to be important for those.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we're going to be working on is resolving how to improve the performance there, and perhaps also figuring out how to do layouts that have fewer neighbors as well.
Yeah. Although one of the things I love at Fantasy Fair is standing at one point and looking around and seeing the other regions in the distance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. So the new Premium Plus account, I was talking to Patch on Monday about it. Have you been involved in the development of that?
Absolutely. And Premium Plus has really been, a cross-company effort. As we're putting together a love list, because I don't know if you've heard, we have a love machine where you can basically thank someone and send them love. And so putting together a love list for a feature release always takes a long time. This one, I think, involves like half the company. So it's been a long time coming. We started on it, if you remember, before the move into AWS was complete. And then at some point, we had to put the brakes on that and throw all of the company efforts onto the move to AWS. And we're super excited to finally be able to bring it. We are going to continue adding features to both Premium and Premium Plus. This is just the beginning, but already we have seen tremendous response. The last time I saw numbers was at 1:15 p.m. SLT, so a little over, about an hour and a half ago, and we were at 441 Premium Plus signups already.
Wow.
Thank you. This warms our hearts so much to know that we actually built something that is useful to you, and this is fantastic. Really happy about it. Thank you to all of you who are signing up and giving this a try. We really think that what we pulled together has a ton of value, and we're very happy that you do too.
Excellent. Excellent. I think I'm waiting for the rush and then I'm going to join. So let me turn instead to something which comes up every year, definitely worth checking on: mobile. Malafegti asks, when will there be? And I think she's showing such confidence here when she asks when and not will. But when will there be a phone app viewer for Second Life?
I'll do my best to answer that one. And I think well, we've talked about the need for this for some time, and we definitely were working on an internal chat app. But we shifted gears. We still have ambitions in this area. But what is good to see is some community-based third-party solutions filling the gap while we kind of navel gaze here. Check out Speedlight if you guys haven't seen kind of what it is and what it does. I think, while we continue to have ambitions and continue to launch projects, I think they actually delivered something that's very interesting for the community. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not working on something. It just doesn't means that I'm not ready to talk about everything we're working on. What I can mention though is that there are initiatives that we're around web functionality and bringing web functionality to mobile. We want to empower our community to manage inventory, shop, find people and things to do, manage their accounts, all from a mobile device and on the web as well. So I hope that's an answer, and that's the best answer I can give right now. This is me tap dancing. But I'll just leave it that we definitely have ambitions in this area, and we just don't have much more to say at this time.
Okay. Just to follow up, I found the Speed Life website. So if people want to check that out,
Yeah, we are in pretty regular communication with the developer for Speedlight, and we're very happy to see the work that's been done by that team.
That sounds really interesting to check out. Right. Moving on. We've really talked. We've talked about future offerings. Can you tell us more about something that's going to come up in the future, do you think?
Yeah, we'd love to. So I just want to caveat this, that this is our R&D section, right? These are aspirational things. This isn't the thing we're ready to ship next.
Right.
But we are excited to work on these things. And to innovate a little bit in various areas. One project that's been in the works, again, as a bit of an R&D project, is called Puppetry. It's been secret until now. The idea behind it is being able to use your webcam to drive your avatar. So if you could imagine, I would be sitting here and my webcam would be running. I would be moving my head, waving my arms, smiling, laughing, whatever. I am a very animated speaker, so my hands are actually constantly moving. Might get a little dizzy. But at the same time, it certainly would feel to me like my avatar was really expressing my emotions. And what I think is coming next, hopefully, we will get a bit of a demo pulled together. Maybe Strawberry would agree to have me on her show one day. We could talk about it a little bit more and see where the community wants to take this. We think this is a cool feature that's kind of a leg up on having to put a head-mounted display on your head just to kind of emote with your avatar. And everybody, or certainly almost everyone these days, especially after 2 years of the pandemic, has a webcam. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more accessible than having to buy an HMD.
That sounds really interesting.
And
Yes.
I think we have a tiny little demo video to drop a link to. It's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
short reel, but it's really cool to kind of just see this little taste of what this looks like right now. And I think, thanks, Squeaky.
Should I go
Yes,
down
please,
our list?
Mojo. But
Okay.
Go
Well,
on.
I have something a little less sexy to talk about, but something that I guess you know is already really important to me, and that's performance. We continue to aspire to improve and invest in improving performance, both on the server as well as in the viewer. There's always more that we can do. And with every increase in visual fidelity, I talked about physical-based rendering. We were talking about mirrors. I mean, mirrors are not free from a frame rate perspective. There's also some cost of performance, so it's something we continually look at. Over to you, Grumpity.
yeah, another area that I think we've talked, even you and I have talked about, Saffia, is finding ways for people to engage. Um,
Mm.
the kind of there's this idea we've been tossing around for people to, I don't know, like think of chat roulette, right? Of being able to
Right.
find new people. Going to a club isn't necessarily the best way to meet people. But neither is necessarily looking for friends on the forums, although I think that has been a successful pathway. So finding other ways to find people and things to do and get your questions answered, and also insert a bit of chance and randomness into it, is another project we're hoping to get to soon. Mojo?
Well, so this is a pipe dream that I want to make a reality here. I want to go to mainland and be able to fly across the regions. I want to be able to see from one region into another, and if there's a tall building or a mountain or some great work over there, I can get kind of a sense of presence and space well beyond the draw distance I have in front of me. And I think this is something I know how to do and something I'm hoping I get to do. So I'm going to tease that and say, hey, maybe we're going to get to that someday. But you know, it was the one opportunity. I was like, oh yes, let's go make Second Life just this amazing, expansive environment, and much of it's there already. We just need to enable the technology.
Right.
I just wanted to mention that Squeaky has dropped a link to a global illumination demo video. It's a really short one, but it's just a cool glimpse at what's coming. And the last one I wanted to throw out there, also again with the caveat that this is R&D and no promises, but we're working on a streaming solution. I know this won't be the first time that we have streaming for Second Life. But we think we've kind of found a gold spot for getting the pricing right, and we're working out the quality issues, of course. But fingers crossed, it can't be free because it's streaming; it's running on some server somewhere. But we're looking for the right price point where it is accessible and available, and it may be a better solution for seeing all of your Second Life in as good to perfect as possible on, let's say, your iPad.
That would be very cool. I think people would be very excited to see that. These are all wonderful things that you're putting forward, and
Yay.
yeah, even though they're R&D at the moment, I think people will be fascinated to talk about them again next year and find out how the projects are going.
I hope so. I mean, with may the winds be in our favor. Maybe some of these projects will be out, and then
Yeah,
we will
what are the
be able
odds for each
to.
of them? Did you have a betting calendar or something here?
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm going to ask a question on a lighter note now, and that's what's the craziest, most bizarre thing that you've seen or done in Second Life?
Hmm. I don't want to talk about the most bizarre thing, but there are
Okay,
certainly things I
that's
enjoy
bad. Huh?
and connect. No, no, it's not that bad. But I think what I want to, how I'd like to respond is that the thing I connect with is spending time in clubs in Second Life. On occasion I forget to come in as an alt and I come in as a Linden, and it's great to go in and support the clubs and hear the music. I really feel these clubs deliver on my expectation of the metaverse. Really, it's like,
Mm.
yes, this is what I thought it would be, and it delivers. They have a lot of people having a good time, listening to music, socializing. I love that there's a live aspect to it, just like we're doing right now. There's a DJ talking to the crowd. So um, perhaps it's not crazy, but it's certainly something I want to plug and celebrate within Second Life.
Right.
What about you, Grumpy?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Come
so
on, Grumpy.
I think the most bizarre thing I did to myself, at least, is that I started a Twitter account. I'm pretty sure if it
Oh,
weren't for Second Life, I would never have started a Twitter account. So, to me, everything else is less crazy. Um, to an extent, because having been here for so long, I feel like Second Life has really made me a better human being overall. Um, even more open than I came into this, less judgmental, and so not that crazy, right?
Right.
We do say internally at the lab, right, that we don't no kink shaming. We accept this weird, wonderful, vibrant world with all of the things that keep people coming back. Um, but I do have a story, and I can't remember if I've told this story before or not. But it's a good one, so it bears repeating. Pretty early on when I started, there was an outage, and this outage led to a bunch of Lindens coming in after hours. It was like a 3 alarm fire,
Mm.
however many alarms a fire can get. And it had to do with us changing the physics coefficient somewhere, which led to a friction coefficient, which led to breedable horses gliding past their food bowls and starving to their little virtual deaths.
oh, so
Um, it was terrible. I mean, everybody was up. It was an all hands on deck situation because virtual horses were starving to their virtual deaths, right? And people were super upset. The things it taught me about being here are multiple, not the least of which is the general importance of breedables.
Mhm.
Um, but also, um, this world is amazing and fantastic. And also, sometimes we take ourselves a little too seriously, right? The importance of what we do can be overstated.
Yes.
And so it's good to remember sometimes, right? Like you can exhale and you're like, they're virtual horses. It's
Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
obviously, right? Obviously, there's all sorts of things underpinning this, not the least of which is that this is somebody's livelihood, right?
Mm.
And so the creators of those virtual horses are very serious about them dying,
Yeah.
as are the people who paid money for them. And yet, nobody died on my watch as a result of the virtual horse death. So,
Yeah. I I have on my Twitter stream. I have things like Quokka every hour and Red Panda every hour, and get sent pictures of really cute animals every hour just to balance the vitriol you can see on Twitter. Right. Now,
good idea.
yeah. Have you had a chance to visit the birthday celebrations yet? And has anything stood out as a must see?
this is my first. This is my first birthday here, and I am new to Linden Lab. new to Second Life, and I discovered Tapestry of Time, and I just wander around trying to find the history of Second Life and put it all together. And so I thought it was a great addition, and so that's at least where I was spending earlier today. It's been great. Recommend it. You, Grumpity?
Yeah, I have many times found myself lost in the Tapestry of Time. Um, I really liked wandering around the exhibits, and there was one that I super enjoyed. It's called Meta Harpers, and you have to go and like repair this gigantic robot. Um, and it's scripted in this super cute way, and you have to like find the gear that fixes the robot, and it gives you all these prompts and hints until you finally find the thing that is like right in front of your face, and then the robot thanks you effusively and gives you a gift, and the gift is a working pocket watch. So
Oh,
I didn't bring my working pocket watch here, um, only because I try to get rid of as many attachments as possible in large events.
Yeah.
But it is super cool, and I'm carrying it around everywhere.
Oh, that's great. I'll look out for that. That sounds really fun. Okay, so um, questions from the audience now, which should have been filtered through Patch. She hints to the audience. Um, right. So, question from Evil Chaos. How far along are we at getting a form of Second Life that works with VR? And several people have actually asked that.
hmm.
La la la.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna give this one to Mojo.
All right, fine. Look, improvements in frame rate are kind of a first step to anything VR related. You need really fast frame rates to do any kind of VR experience. What I can say is we've definitely been discussing it, but you know, it's uh, um, we don't we don't have like an active project. You don't have an expectation that tomorrow we're coming up with some new VR thing that we're going to present to you, but it's definitely on our minds. Um, and I think that's all I got, unless Grumpy wants to, embellish that with maybe something a little softer. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the answer is we think about it. It is not uh it's not the short term. I would say it's in the R&D division, possibly behind a number of other things.
Right. And some of the other things are really exciting. Remember, you got really excited about them 10 minutes ago. So, yeah. Okay. Next question. There were 5 variants of this question. This one came from Rathgrith 027. Last year at Second Life 18B, I asked about if eventually the viewer would be transitioning over to using Vulkan as its graphics API. Have there been any updates on that front since, or are we still trying to see what we can pull out of the current viewer before we just rip out OpenGL entirely?
I'm assuming that one's for me. Uh,
So, yeah.
so yes, we've been discussing Vulkan, looking at Vulkan for some time. What I can tell you is that it's, when we talk about future performance projects or the need to do performance work, it's definitely one of the things that is on the docket, but we have not started that transition. Also, there's this debate as to, what the right timing is, how long we can kind of move along uh, on the OpenGL stack that we have. Obviously, we're very aware of Apple's position, and so that kind of makes it Apple, meaning that they're kind of retiring aspects of OpenGL, and so moving to Vulkan or some other kind of API is kind of in the cards at some point. So we're still kind of exploring the timing. But it's definitely one of the things we think could greatly improve performance as well.
Right. And a question from Pywacket Bellman. And that is, what does the future support for macOS look like?
Grumpy, are you tossing that one to me as well?
You bet. I'm so glad to have you here, Mojo. Can you imagine? At the last SLB, I got all these questions.
Yes, you did. Well, you would have nailed them all too. So I'm look, there is every plan to continue supporting Mac, and we just had a discussion about how we're worried about Mac support for OpenGL, and we're willing to potentially make a large investment to go to another API, perhaps for the sake of going there. I mean, I guess I forgot to add to that last response. One of the things that we're worried about is just how many PCs are supporting Vulkan and stuff like that. So that's kind of the other thing. So yes, we at least in all our discussions, we plan to continue supporting Mac, and it's a first class citizen in our build pipeline. So it's we will support Mac.
That's good news.
I don't want to eat those words. So
Yeah, that is good news. Right. Oh, this is an interesting idea from Varian Altney. And the question is, could we have lightweight groups that are just for notices, no chat?
It is an interesting idea.
Hmm.
A bit of information that's also interesting is that a lot of the overhead of groups has nothing to do with chat and everything to do with presence updates. So every time a member of a group comes online, there's the possibility that we're going to be updating everybody else who's in that group. And that's why the load is actually exponential, right? So all of the online and offline notifications make it hard. We've talked about this before. We didn't grab onto this idea, but as we continue revisiting what we can do to improve groups, this is one of the possibilities, certainly.
Right. I'm told that when people when people teleport in or cross into a new region, the loud thud behind them is their groups arriving.
Yeah.
Okay. Question from Kane Maven. Is Linden Lab planning to join the Metaverse Standards Forum, which I think is the new thing that Mark Zuckerberg is involved with? And if so, which, if any, technological advantages could be gained? And Pat got quite a few questions about that.
sure, I think I'll take that one. So many different companies are involved in that. Microsoft, Epic, and yeah, we've begun a discussion to join basically the Metaverse Standards Forum. Going to be talking more with the rest of Lindens, because we're actually pretty new to being aware of the Standards Forum, which is, I don't know, we're the OG and yet not on the Standards Forum. It makes sense for us to be there. As to technological advantages to be gained, I think it'll be interesting to see if over time, we are able to develop some common standards. The there's all this idea of information exchange, presence exchange, perhaps avatar exchange. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not very well versed in kind of what there's an upcoming meeting. I'm not really sure what's on the agenda, but I am personally interested in hearing what's going to be said and having a seat at the table.
Question now from Liz Wilner, and I think this is a Grumpity question. How hard would it be to allow us to organise inventory via the Second Life website so we don't have to log on to see and do that? And how and how soon can you have it built? Well, I can make Friday.
Um, Thank you, Liz. This actually has been a passion project idea for one of the Lindens, and we just discussed coming up with a plan for how to get that done. There are, of course, many caveats here, right? From making sure that an account takeover wouldn't be easier on the web than in the viewer, leading to
Ooh,
you losing all of your inventory. So perhaps it will be gated by, as an example, right? Like one of the things we've talked about is gating inventory management behind multi-factor auth, so that you would only be able to manage inventory if you had multi-factor auth enabled. There's other things to make sure, right? Like what happens if you're logged in on the viewer and on the web and you're trying to do inventory management in both places? We'd need to be very careful about that. But in general, yes, we want to do this. We think that it is an important feature for our existing users. And, you know, Alexa may need to make fewer videos telling you about inventory management if we had inventory management available on the web.
that is true. Now, I have a question. It's quite a long one from Maelstrom Janus. But I think it's a really interesting one. I love to build in Second Life using the building menu as offered by Lindens. For example, I like being able to build a space station in Second Life wearing a protective suit and seeing how my build develops rather than using software outside Second Life to create and import the products. However, in-world building has become very stagnant with no improvements or additions for some time. I can think of lots of modifications if they're feasible. And he says he's not a tech, so he thought he'd ask. So 99% hollowing would be a major change for the better. An increase in prim size to 100 meters or even higher. It's ages since they're increased to 64, rather than struggling with megaprims which can't be fully edited. A menu offering pre-made polyhedral, polygonal, and triangular prims, the ability to fold prims along any of their axes or slice between, and 2 points on a prim surface would also be major improvements. So, is there any chance of any of these features being added, or are there other plans to improve and update building in world rather than having to rely on mesh software?
Wow. I think this is a great question, and I love it. Um, I think this is a very specific list of things that is being requested. Since we're on this forum, I'll definitely take this back to the engineering team to kind of discuss building but when people have requests like these, the idea that we have the Jira for getting this feedback is great. Um, we can go through each one of these and in a group kind of decide, hey, does this make sense? Do we want to do it?
Mm,
Um, the reason I love this question though is because I agree with you. I think building is great, and I do worry that building with prims it's out of fashion in some cases, or it's um, you have to go outside to go build something in Blender and then bring it in, and maybe you don't have those skills, and so you have to go to Marketplace and search for building materials and bring them onto your land. And I think those are all great paths. Um, but this idea of staying inside the Second Life, uh, and collaborating with others to go build and develop a piece of land, and I think is a great experience. That we're looking for suggestions as to how to make it better. Uh, I've had ideas, not quite like these, but this idea that, yeah, let's create new, like, I wanted to say, could we take blocks building or take aspects from Minecraft or Blocks World, and do we put that in? Are there other simplified ways of building within Second Life? Now these are, I state them, do not get any ideas. We're not doing any of those things. But things like this, I think, are reasonable questions. And so, thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. And my answer is, we will definitely take it under consideration.
Okay. Well, I think we have come to the end of the questions now. I think we seem to have reached oh, right, there's one more. From Jenna Huntsman. Are there any plans to return to official Linux support?
Oh, why do we have to end on that one? The short answer, I guess, is not at the present time. I mean, I definitely was unequivocal about Mac. I'm going to be waffly about Linux here. Might we have some application for it? Maybe. I know that Firestorm definitely has been doing a good job of kicking it around. I think I saw a cool demo of it running on, gosh, what was it running on? Steambox or something like that. I don't know. It was great. There's definitely applications for Linux. It's just not been something we've been investing our time in, unfortunately.
Right. Okay. I have a question here from Sarah KB7 Kosinin. And this is, will Second Life ever support NVIDIA RTX GPUs which feature ray tracing?
Maybe. I mean, I know what you're talking about, and I know the technology. We certainly support those GPUs, but I think what you're asking is, are we going to support that ray tracing functionality? Again, it's one of those things where I think you're tossing it to us. Hey, wouldn't this be cool? I think we think it'd be cool too. It's just, when would it be that we would get around to something like that? And it is, specific to because this is a kind of accelerated. I don't want to even call it ray tracing because it's such a reduced resolution here. But it is all about just lifting the quality of graphics, and that's something overall that I'm very passionate about, and our viewer team is passionate about it as well. So I think now that I'm here, you're going to definitely see a lot more focus on that, and as the community wants that, we're going to deliver it.
Okay. Question from Diamond Merchant. Could you make available an up-to-date FAQ on what measures residents can take to decrease lag and what historical measures are no longer needed? I find this would be really useful. I attended a class on lag and I was surprised by some things like the sheer fact of sitting down reduces lag considerably.
I think this is a great idea. And yes, we will try to put together a an FAQ and perhaps an upcoming Second Life University video about that as well. I think Strawberry just volunteered. Thank you, Strawberry.
Okay, another question about graphics engines from Taser Mercury. When is Linden Lab going to move on to a new graphics engine such as Unreal 5. It seems there's a lot out there to choose from.
Wow. Hmm. So, what I can say is that we're definitely investing in the engine we have and in improving it. But that isn't to say that we aren't aware of Unity or Unreal, its capabilities, or even dabbling in the idea that maybe there are other viewers out there or other ways of looking at building a viewer that uses that type of technology. Um, but I think this is more me dreaming than anything else. And honestly, I think we're talking about PBR, we're talking about a lot of other improvements. We're improving performance. We're trying to make sure that the experience that you get with the viewer that you have today and that you will continue to have, both ours and whatever gets merged into Firestorm, continues to have innovation. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not currently trying to port anything to Unreal right now.
Right. I see quite a few of the audience are suggesting that changing engines could break a lot of legacy content.
It could. I mean, I think there might be ways of doing it to minimize that, but there needs to be kind of yes, it's just a really hard thing to do, um, for all those reasons.
Yeah. Ravi Bunny has asked, possibly Ravy Bunny has asked, are there going to be any technical plans on improving the sound engine within the Second Life world? LFL is very limited as it is. All sound is mono, 10-second snippets, etc. It would be really nice to have sound enhancements.
We've had some discussions on better tooling around, integrating sound. I, I welcome ideas. Please bring them to our attention on what you'd suggest and how we go. What are the things that you're looking for? The spatial audio. I mean, certainly also, Philip in High Fidelity cares a lot about sound. So we're definitely having a lot more conversations, but we haven't yet put any new initiatives into the roadmap. So I think we're ready to listen and understand what people want to literally hear.
Right. Selena Morningstar asks, how does Second Life or the Lindens feel about the new meta platform? Okay, guys, remember this is for a general audience.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You keep it clean.
Don't get me
We have legs.
We have legs there. That's all we
We
need to say.
do. We also, I feel like we just have, it's a tough
They have a lot of
it's a
money.
tough question to answer politely. But I don't think we should underestimate Meta as a player in the space. They have practically unlimited resources, right? And it is, you know, again, as Philip said in yesterday's talk, it is a Hail Mary, and so a lot is riding on this platform being successful for Meta. And so you can be sure that there's going to be a huge push there. Do I personally like it? No, I don't like it one bit. It gives me the creeps. But as you know, as the VP of product for Second Life, I have to respect the elephant in the room and take it seriously.
I think that's a good point.
If I can, I'm going to try to again keep it clean and keep it going. But I think my biggest issue with the platform isn't aesthetic. It's not legs. It's not the technology or their ability to develop technology. There are a lot of really smart people working at Meta who have been doing really cool things with technology. It is the business model that freaks me out. Because the way that Meta makes money is by bringing something for free to billions of people and then farming it, right? And it's not actually free, but we're all addicted to this quote unquote um, free software that exists all around us. And it's very difficult to kind of put this mental cap on and go, no, I'm going to be valiant and I'm not going to give away my mother's maiden name. I'm not going to, right? Like, I'm not going to tell you all of my preferences so that you can better advertise to me. And when we are in an immersive environment, the danger only multiplies.
Mm. Yes, as Elephant Skidoo puts it, you're not the customer, you're the product.
Exactly.
Mm. Right, I have a question, another question from Zelina Morningstar. Is there any plan in the future to somehow allow creators to earmark items as clothing or furniture upon creation to make it easier to categorize in each user's inventory and thereby helping users with inventory clutter?
So I will take this, but I will definitely caveat this saying this is definitely in the aspirational category. Maybe we've had discussions about just this very thing, and we've had needs, particularly for new users and for others to be able to basically tag items in inventory, which I think is really what this is all about. Is I think Alexis hit me up on this. I think so many people have said, "Hey, why can't we do this?" This is actually hard for us, just because we have so many things in our database, and we have to, add schema and all these other technical things. But it's something that I've certainly been asking the team to say, "Hey, I want this." I think the question is the timing. So, yeah, I think Zelina, you and I have the same idea here as to is it on the roadmap? We're trying to figure out timing and complexity, but we're thinking about this very thing.
Okay, a question from Sarah KB7 Koskin 9. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name horribly. Could the region water table height be localized, like how terraforming terrain is done?
Wow, that's cool and interesting. I can think all kinds of uses for that. I'd have to go to Simon or someone on my team to kind of understand the cost but I certainly understand why you might want to do that. But I don't know the answer of, oh yeah, that's easy as pie, or no, there's a really good reason we don't do that. So I think that's just one of those things you put through the Jira, and Simon will be there, and we will talk about it for sure.
Yeah, Grumpty's comment there. And a question from Angel Aquila. Is there going to be a fix for sim crossings for connected? I'm going to change this to regions rather than sims, otherwise Patch will kill
Yeah.
me. It's very hard for role play communities. But she adds, thank you, and you guys are doing a great job.
Oh well, me or you, Grumpy, on this one. I think we both have an angle here.
Go for it, Mojo.
Okay. So we are well aware of this, and Grumpy's had a bug in my ear about this as well. So I think it's kind of the same as the last problem. We're still trying to study the complexity of making it better, but we have every desire to make it better, right? When we talk about scaling or technical debt or all these other things, these are the kinds of things that we're talking about and saying, yeah, how do we go about fixing this? But I also know that I've talked with my team about this is not an easy problem, and so you know definitely something that I think we have people investigating, but I don't have any I don't have any great news saying, oh, yep, it's tackled.
Okay. Right. A question from Eric Mondrian. And he starts by saying, thank you both so much for being here today and for all the cool announcements and links. His question is, when can we expect a fix for the ghosting of regions that no longer exist, still showing up on the world map? And likewise, same question, but for the default EEP on mainland, which still seems to make things appear darker than they should as compared to pre-EEP.
I might be able to take part of the question. I think the ghosting. I think they're talking about the ghosting of map tiles. I'm not sure if that's what
Yeah.
they're referring to, but they
Yeah.
mentioned the world map. And really what's going on is that we need improvements on our map generator. We know that we have some issues with it. We kind of like have been sticking our head in the sand saying, it's good enough. But really, we know that it needs to get fixed, and we have a resource assigned to look at it. And so hopefully, I mean, we have people who are very passionate about the world map. And so I have a feeling that it will get addressed. Maybe that's about as far as I'm going to go right now. I don't know the timeline or anything like that.
There's a fantastic museum of Second Life maps. I mean, it's utterly stunning. You can find out so much about Second Life history from the map region.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Museum of Maps. It's great. We did a show on it on Designing Worlds. Big plug for them.
That's wonderful. I need to check that out. As for the EEP settings on mainland, maybe we need to take a look at the default EEP settings. And that sounds like a job for the moles. You can totally pester them with that tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Right. The question has come from Tabs Hempstock on the YouTube chat, which said, will we be able to add graphics to the map like SLB has? Strawberry says she thinks Simon did that.
He did. Simon's got an Easter egg in the map. So we can. I don't know that we're going to extend that feature. Yeah, we can.
Yes.
I don't know that it's
Unsatisfying
going
answer
to.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is a maybe.
Okay. There is a way that you can add graphics to a map by building in the sky.
Yeah, but then you'd have to actually be able to build in that region. The Easter egg Simon has planted is that you can actually add an image into the map where there are no regions.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, look out for Premium Deluxe Plus Plus.
Yeah.
Plus Plus.
Plus, plus, plus. Okay. Right. I think we're basically at the end of questions now. So I'm going to say thank you so much to.
Can I throw something in?
Do please throw
As
away.
of 3:19 p.m., we have over 700 Premium Plus accounts.
Oh wow!
Just saying.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I'm so excited. And yeah, thank you.
That is incredible. Wow.
Vacation for everyone. See you in a week. Bye.
Okay. Right. Well, I'd like to thank Mojo and Grumpity for coming today to talk to me on Meet the Lindens. Thank you to the audience for all their questions and help. Thank you to Patch for taking the questions. Thank you to Squeaky for keeping up to date with sending video links and so forth. Thanks to Strawberry for live streaming and Max for doing the sound. It's been great to be here with you all. Tomorrow we have Meet the Moles. And Grumpity and Mojo, thank you so much for coming and telling us so much. I think everyone is excited about what's in the pipeline and what's in the far distant cloud too.
Thank you so much, Saffia. It's always a ton of fun, and I really enjoyed being here.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful first experience. Thank you.
Good.
And thank you, Mojo, for being here to take all of the hard questions.
You're welcome.
Such a relief. Thank you. And thank you to the audience for being here. And thank you for everyone, to everyone for your enthusiasm about Premium Plus.
Yes.
I can't reiterate how excited I am that people think it's awesome.
It is awesome. Right, so thank you everyone for coming. And I think we're going to go quiet in just a minute and the streaming will stop.
Happy birthday, Second Life!
Yay!
Happy birthday, Second Life.